Hey folks, big surprise today. Stick around, we'll show you what it is. We've been waiting a while. The windmill's going up. How about that? Got a guy come out, called him a couple months ago, and he's here today to put it up. Now this is an 8-foot air motor windmill. Got a boom truck. He's going to put it on top of our tower here, and he's got all the parts and everything that's needed to mount it. There's some spacers and stuff that you got to use to get the right clearances and everything inside the motor, which I knew nothing about, so I was glad I found this gentleman. But he's going to get it up there and get the oil in it and everything it needs to work. Got to install the mechanism that folds the tail, hooks into the bottom of that before it goes on the shaft. So you can see there's a lever up top up there. There'll be a connection from that lever there to this item that he's putting on that shoves that thing up, and as you shove it up, it folds the tail back even with the rotor like it is now. Normally the tail is out behind it. Right now the tail is in the folded position. He's tying the tail to the rotor to keep the rotor from spinning. If the wind comes up, you don't want that thing turning on you when you're mounting it up there. Got a remote he's hooking up now, so he can take this remote with him as he climbs the tower, and he can work the winch and the boom as he goes up. Now he's putting the different rigging on there now, so as he lifts it, it'll lift it up straight instead of at an angle, because it's got to be straight to go down on the shaft. Looks like he's going around the shaft of the rotor. Alright, he's got it so it's lifting up straight now. Got to put oil in the gearbox before he's done, so he tied the jug of oil on there so he has it when he gets up top. And then that's the cover that goes on the gearbox. Once it's set, it keeps the rain out of the gearbox. Now he's attaching the pump rod that goes up through the motor, up through the middle of the stem up top. I originally wasn't going to put that on because we're not going to have it pumping anything, but he says it's necessary to keep the oil from leaking out of the hole that it comes up through. Up we go. I'm excited. it's a beautiful sight already. You can tilt it side to side by raising or lowering one of the legs on either side. You can make the boom go side to side just a little bit. You back the truck up a little bit more, get a little bit closer to the tower. Just about got a bullseye going. Up he goes. I'm too old for that. Gotta untie my rope. At least he's got a nice platform to work on. He's got some washers he's got to put on. That's why he measured the stem. He's got to get the correct height on the stem for it to work right. That's why I have professionals doing this and not me. Of course, I don't have a boom truck either. Looks like it needs one more washer. All the washers are different thicknesses. So he's measuring again. Another washer. Setting her down. Got to thread the needle for that thing to go in right. If it's crooked, it won't want to go down on the shaft. So you've got to wiggle it around. Coming on down nice. But he don't even tie himself off. I'd have to be tied off to that thing to work up there. Put a belt on and wrap a rope around there, but I guess you can't do things quite as fast that way. He's getting everything all unhooked from the boom. Pump rod's going in now. He's shoving it up through the stem. And it goes all the way up into the crankcase up there. And then gets a little pin. Well, John's standing on the rotor now, working up in the motor, tying in that pump rod. Still not tied off. He's a lot braver than me.
Some would say dumber.
Do they still sell these air motor windmills, John?
Yeah.
So you can.
Motors the only company that still makes windmills.
You can still buy them brand new.
Yep. In fact, there's 4 or 5 different places in the world that make them. The actual air motor company, and there's one in South Dakota where I get most of my parts.
Now I have a guy I deal with for my hit and miss engine. He had an air motor hit and miss engine. And I never knew they made them. I guess they made them to run the pump jacks when the wind wasn't blowing.
Yeah. Well, like this, like a lot of other stuff, companies made a lot of other stuff to kind of go along with some of their deal.
He said he dug it out of the well. It had fell down in the well.
Really?
And he was restoring it.
I've seen pictures on hit or miss engine sites. I've seen pictures of them before.
Is the number on your truck correct?
Yeah.
So if you live in central Nebraska and you need some windmill service, there's his info there on the door, Seaman and Sons, and his number. Can't hardly find anybody to work on windmills in this area, so I was glad when we found him. He's up about an hour and a half north of us.
55.
It's a 1955.
Yep.
Windmill was made in 1955. John's putting the oil in it right now. 2 quarts of oil, he says. What weight of oil do you use, John?
All season hydraulic oil.
Oh, okay. All season hydraulic oil. Gonna put the rain cover on now. Keeps the water out of the gearbox. Then there's a nut that goes on top of that holds it on. He's putting the control handle back on that I had taken off because I originally wasn't going to use it until he talked me back into it. It's a good idea to run these a few times a year to keep them oiled up right. Luckily I kept all the parts. But you just pull this lever down and it folds the tail of the windmill. He's going to add a wire, a heavy gauge wire that goes from this to that little handle up there, right there. So when you pull that down, it just folds the tail. Hooking up the wire to the lever up there. Got it strung up through the tower. So he's adjusting the wire now to get the right throw. I think he's got it. So when you throw that lever down, it folds the tail. Just like that. And see, you're all folded. All done. Putting the boom down. It's only been probably 40 minutes since he started. And he's already got it up. Got it oiled, everything fixed, got it, everything hooked up. Guy knows his stuff. Highly recommend him. Alright, we said goodbye to John. He's headed back home. And look what we got. That's the view we've been looking for right there. Too bad this power line's in the way, but we'll take what we can get. Isn't that gorgeous? And if we wanted a functioning windmill, it functions. We just don't have a well beneath it. But super cool. Absolutely love it. Now we had a great visit with John. He stayed afterwards and I showed him all the old tractors and what we've been working on here, and he's got an interest in that stuff too. he was telling me about some of the engineering on these windmills. It's just absolutely amazing. These things regulate their own speed. All the oiling mechanisms are just amazing. These things are made to run forever. And I'll tell you, one of the things he showed me was pretty cool. So you see how the shaft for the rotor is offset from the stem. It's not right in the center. And then the tail section is hooked also not in the center, it's on the other side. And because those are off-centered, when the windmill is open, when the wind pushes on the rotor and pushes on the tail, it automatically brakes itself. It's got a mechanism up there that's got a brake that slows the rotor down in high wind, and it only can do that because of the offset of those connections. It's pretty neat. The guys that come up with these things back in the day, they had some brains on them, that's for sure. Well, we got to get the tractor put back in the barn, take our little temporary stand here, get it put somewhere. Man, I love this thing already. Even the guineas like it. And we've got some reclaimed space here in the barn, so that'll be nice too. There's a shot of the barn and a windmill. Every barn should have a windmill next to it, in my opinion. Absolutely love it. Now, we put the tower up this spring when our friends were here from Tennessee, Dave and Stephanie. You hear about them all the time, but they're a big part of our lives. We really enjoy having them around, and we like visiting them. But that was a fun project. I had no plans on putting that tower up when they were here, but Dave said one day, hey, let's put that tower up. I'm like, I don't think I'm ready to put the tower up. I don't think I have everything. He's like, well, get it, because we're going to do it. So that was a good project. Sorry I didn't get a video of that, but it was a pretty hectic deal getting that tower up and needed all hands on deck. So we really appreciate them helping us get that tower up. I need to give a special thanks too to our friends Carl and Cindy for giving this windmill tower that was out in their pasture. It was just in the way for his cows, so he said, come and get it. So we did. Well, I got to get ready to go. It's almost noon. I joined the mentoring program up at the local high school, and I'm mentoring a young man up there, so I need to go up for our weekly appointment. So we're going to get rolling. So I hope you enjoyed our windmill video as much as I enjoyed it going up. Special thanks to John Seaman and Seaman and Sons. I guess he's the father. He's got a 10-year-old that goes around with him and helps him with this, but of course he was in school today. But would have been nice to meet that young man too. Sounds like he already knows how to work the boom truck and everything. Pretty impressive. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. Come back and see us here at Markelly Farm.